Hey you guys, welcome to a Miseducated Rambler video. My name is Bulani Due, but YouTube prefers to call me Miseducated Rambler. So welcome. Welcome to part 2 of the allergies versus food intolerance episode or video. So in this video, we are talking treatment, how to treat an allergy, how to treat the food intolerance reaction or whatever. Okay, so let's start with allergies. So with allergies, there's two ways to it. It's either emergency treatment or long-term management. Okay. So with the emergency treatment, we have an instance where a person is having a severe reaction or they're having a mild reaction. So in the case of a severe life-threatening reaction, a person would require something called epinephrine. People mostly refer to it as using an EpiPen. So an EpiPen is a device, an injection that is filled with pure adrenaline. Okay, so how exactly it works? Of course, we have to first look at what is happening when you're having the reaction, right? So when a person that is allergic to a particular allergen is exposed to it, what happens is the body goes into a dramatic shock reaction where the lungs or your airway swells shut. Remember, we're talking about the severe reaction, right? It swells shut and your blood pressure drops dangerously low. Okay. So what the epinephrine will do, what the adrenaline does is it will bring your blood pressure up and it will reduce swelling. How does that happen? It constricts your blood vessels, right? So the blood vessels that have the blood moving through it will narrow. So say they're like that, they will narrow up, and then physics, the blood pressure will be increased. And then with the lungs, the muscles will become relaxed, helping this individual to breathe. Now note that this emergency treatment using an EpiPen, it's temporary. It's not a fix. It actually buys this person about 10 to 20 minutes to, go to the emergency room. So the minute you inject yourself with it, you have to rush to the emergency room just in case, because a second hit can happen. Actually, you can have a second reaction. It's possible. So it's always good to immediately rush to the emergency room. So the EpiPen is given you inject it on your thigh, so your outer thigh, never into your veins or the buttocks. Okay, so into your thigh, and it's good because it can be taken over your clothes, like through your clothes. You don't have to undress a person, to inject them. It's very strong in that it can go through the clothes, which is pretty cool. Okay, and then remember I said that it's a severe reaction or a mild reaction. So with the mild reaction, there's medication termed antihistamines. Okay, so they can come in the form of pills, cream, nasal drops, eye drops, liquids. Yeah. So these ones, like I said, they're to target a mild reaction, like if you're having the hives, right? Remember that we mentioned hives, which are those itchy red swellings on your skin. Yeah, so you would apply the cream or you take medication to help redeem that whole situation, right? You can't use antihistamines to help your case in a emergency reaction, because if we were to use an analogy, the antihistamines would be your regular brakes in a car, and then the epinephrine is your emergency brakes, right? So if you're going to use antihistamines to target this very dramatic reaction, nothing is going to happen really, right? So the epinephrine is like the emergency brakes, like it happens really, really, really fast. All right. Then we have the second part of it. Remember that we said that there's the emergency treatment, and now we are moving into the long term management, right? So, with the long term management, when it comes to allergies, a person would have to avoid eating the allergen. So, whatever that can trigger a reaction, right? Remember, we mentioned the peanuts, shellfish, da 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 da. Make sure you avoid that type of food completely so you don't get such reactions, right? Right. And then there's another thing called oral immunotherapy. Oral immunotherapy. Yes. Oral immunotherapy, which is treatment whereby a person is medically supervised to as gradually they are given small tiny microgram doses amounts of food of the allergen. Okay, now take note, I said that this is medically supervised. Okay, so you can't do this on your own. Remember, in the previous video, we mentioned how quickly a trigger can come about in with allergies, right? Like the tiniest amount can cause a reaction. So this is medically supervised. And the person, as time goes on, the dose is increased. This is obviously to get your immune system familiar with this particular food substance. And so that when you accidentally get exposed to it, your body does not react dramatically, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. And then, do you guys still remember the alpha gal syndrome? That condition that is a tick-borne red meat allergy. Yeah. So with that one, if you remember how it's brought about, a tick bites you and then you become vegan. You should, so that basically means that by all means, avoid red meat. Avoid red meat for a particular period of time and make sure that you get yourself tick cream. Yeah, tick cream, where you have a thick layer of it so that that tick doesn't come, just in case you get exposed to it again. If it bites you, then you don't get reinfected again, because remember, if it bites you again, then it's back to square one in terms of your recovery, right? So yeah, that is that with the treatments for allergies. So in the case of food intolerance, how do we treat it? um if you remember in the previous video, we mentioned that with food intolerance, this is when the your digestive system does not have certain enzymes that are required to break down certain food components, right? So we mentioned lactose, we mentioned protein, and all of that, right? So if you don't have, for example, lactase, you can take lactase pills over the counter, right? And it's actually advisable to take it before eating something that contains lactose, like immediately before eating it, because it helps to break down lactose, which is something that your body would otherwise not be able to do on its own. Okay. And then there is dietary adjustments. So you can do something about your diet. There is something called the threshold strategy. Okay, this is when you, as a person, you have to know your limits. You have to know how much it is that you can take without having any problems. Okay, so basically, with food intolerance and the treatment, this is all about avoiding symptoms and helping your gut to digest food. Yeah, that's basically it. um so yeah, having your limits, like with me, I have to know that I can't take a whole 5 liter of ice cream from the shops and finish it in one day. I'm learning too, guys. Yeah. Okay, so there's a question that I have a feeling some people might have with regards to red meat and it being protein. and why it's not part of the big nine? I'm just guessing some people might have a question for that. So the answer is, so with the red meat does not meet the legal criteria of statistical frequency required by the FDA, right? So to be classified as a major allergen, a food must be responsible for the vast majority of severe reactions in the population. So it's rare for people to get allergies from red meat, hence why it is not classified as a major a major allergen. It's not part of the big nine, even though it's a protein. All right, you guys. So the difference between an allergy and an intolerance boils down to protection versus processing. One requires an emergency rescue, while the other one would just require digestive help. And hey, if you ever find yourself running away from a tick that's trying to force you into the vegan lifestyle, now you know what's going on. Yeah. Anyway, I'd love to hear from you guys. What is one weird food reaction or food substitute that you've had to take before? Let me know down in the comment section below. Let's talk about it. And yeah, if I helped you to clear up any confusion with regards to allergies and food intolerance, please like this video, subscribe to it so that like this video and subscribe to my channel so that I can produce more videos like this in the future. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching. Until next time, see you guys. Bye.